My name's David Morantz. I am the Chief Revenue Officer at MedNow. MedVisit is an at-home doctor visit company where doctors from the community that are on our roster who work with us go visit patients of MedVisit who are over 65, homebound, and can't access a primary care provider. MedVisit has been around for around 30 years. So it's a well-known brand, tons of patients, but let's just say some of the processes and the way things were done were a little bit old school, for lack of a better word. So the documentation of processes were limited, to say the least, as well as there really weren't backstops or kind of backups as it relates to some of these key parts of the business that were being run or handled by one individual or individuals across different departments within the company. So what we felt was that there was a big risk of, and this is true for any organization and any employee, but someone who gets hit by a bus, the whole business crumble. At the same time, we knew that there was a better way to do things. So I would say it's two parts in terms of what we felt we needed help with. One is modernizing the business and lowering costs, enhancing revenue. The second was really foolproofing some of the key departments of the business that one individual had handled for many years. So we had an initial conversation with Ross, and I would say it was Ross and the comfort he gave us initially about how he understood the problems that we were going through. Just a bit of background on Ross. He has a long-standing history within the clinic management space and MedVisit. So we felt he really understood the problems. He also understood the opportunities and could clearly articulate them. And then I would say he really stuck with us. So there wasn't a immense contract that we had to go through right away and make a decision in the first few hours or sessions in meeting with Ross and team. It was really holding our hand, explaining all the various opportunities, how him and team and Physician First would fix them and at what cadence and timeline. And then working with us to slowly change, or I guess first map out what those changes needed to be, and then ultimately actually help us with the change and bring different folks across the organization who are key, like our CFO as an example, on board, give him the understanding he needed, and ultimately provide solutions and advice across many different parts of the business beyond really what Physician First does. And that was certainly one of the core reasons that we had almost made our decision before really even understanding exactly what everything thereafter looked like. In terms of the heat to the two punch, obviously, whether organizations want to understand it or want to admit it or not, there is a large and growing need for technical capabilities within, frankly, any space today. That doesn't disclude healthcare and running a business within healthcare. The catch is that a lot of these systems are quite different. They're not the typical stack that you'd get within an organization. You have your EMR, you have your billing system. For us, you have the way we actually coordinate and deploy physicians using technology as well. And all those things have to speak together. They have to integrate. There are implications to not understanding that both patient journey, physician journey in terms of how the dollars and cents move around the business, and then ultimately how our partners or physician partners get paid. So we definitely saw, as I said, savings and efficiencies in all the products Physician First offers at face value, but also additional savings in the ability we have to probably do away with some of the third-party consultants that we have solely looking at our tech stack. I think what we found about Physician First and your solution versus competitors is, and not to say anything bad about some of the competition, but to us, it seemed more like there was Physician First on one side that had a technological solution, wanted to use a tech product to solve a lot of these problems. And then there were other sets of services that were frankly more similar to how everything was being done at MedVisit the moment we got in. So we saw quite a bit of a difference in terms of innovation, what the power of the tools would let us do and how it would ultimately let Physician First and our team scale their time while having full visibility into the business. We really wanted to have a piece of technology that was going to give us all the things we needed, and ultimately needed to trust that that technology would let us lower costs, enhance revenue, and run the business much more efficiently. So we wanted to go in a direction that that we knew was ultimately going to provide the economies of scale and visibility across a pretty, I don't want to say disparate org, but an org where we're not all in the same place at the same time. Some people are in the pharmacy, some people are working from home, some people are, across the country in our Vancouver based location. So we really needed to think about the problem from a tech first perspective. And I think that's where Physician First differentiated versus others. So in terms of that journey and the initial stage, it made the decision pretty easy. Like there are going to be immediate savings to working with Physician First to do exactly what we do today. And I'm sure we'll be doing it in a much better way, not just for the folks internally, but also, and more importantly, for our physician partners who part of the KPIs of MedVisit is attracting more of them. So that physician experience needs to be amazing. I've been in the technology industry for 15 years, and the tooling that Physician First provides are things that in any other category like exist. Like they're there, right? They're not there in healthcare, which is surprising, funny, sad. I don't know. But what I'd say to other prospective clients is that there are much more efficient ways to use technology to grow your business, increase visibility, and enhance the experience for both patients and ultimately the folks who move the business forward. So the physicians kind of working day in and day out. I would say speak to Ross and Vahid. They are experts not only in what they do, but they've been there. They've been in your seat exactly. And it becomes clear when you present them with your issues and they provide feedback and sets of experiences, not only from clients, but from them actually doing it themselves as clinic owners. So I think it's a really big miss if those conversations aren't had. I just think over time, there's different ways of doing things, and vendors and solutions and platforms come to bear that look at problems in new ways and use technology to solve those problems. And it's really what's going to create longevity in your business, and their consultative approach is going to help, I think, grow the business in many ways beyond just what the core offerings of Physician First are.